All right, welcome everybody. We are coming to you live from the Cuz Picks. Well, give me the loot in the background there as our intro. Welcome to Week 10 NFL. I am joined today by Court D, who's coming to you live from down in Jersey. What's up, Court?
Hey, how's everybody doing there? You heard Kyle K. Hass. Give me the loot.
All right. So we are going to run through some of the guys we like, give you some big time plays to put in every single one of your lineups, and then give you some value plays as well. If you're looking for a full lineup, check out our Instagram, the Cuz Picks. Okay, after this, we're going to take a little bit of time, make sure our lineups are put together, and we're going to throw them out on there as well as at Twitter. Again, that's at the Cuz Picks. All right, so lineups will be up. Here, what we're going to do today for the new joiners and the new viewers is we're just going to highlight a couple players. I'm going to give you two at each position. I think Court D's probably going to give you the same, maybe an extra one, maybe a bonus one for a position or two. So real quick, I got to give a shout out to Court D. He hit you hit 3 or 4 lineups last night for cash?
I'll tell you what, the past 2 days I've been on absolute fire in the NBA. I came in 8th in the Monster the other day, rolled it over. I gave you guys 4 lineups yesterday. 3 of the 4 cashed in the tournaments. All 4 were cash play winners. So it has been a very good 2 days in the NBA. And I want to roll that over today into the NFL with some big scores for you guys.
All right. So, of course, Court D, big last night. I didn't get mine up on Twitter in time because we were down at the Flyers game, but I did throw one in as well, highlighted by Julius Randle, Eric Bledsoe. And I also hit the cash, so it got you in the top 5%. So, really, that was 5 lineups last night that we had, and all 5 of them won us some money. So, hopefully we can repeat that today for the NFL. So let's get started. I'll start you off with quarterbacks. So I got 2 guys I like. One is, kind of high money, and the other one's a value play. So this kills me, all right, as an Eagles fan, but I am going to start with Matty Ice. He's coming in the highest over-under of the day, 51.5. If you look at it on the surface, the Eagles have the 7th rated pass defense. And you think, all right, maybe that scares you away. Unfortunately, it doesn't scare me away because their pass defenses looked weak lately. You have McKelvin who's injured. They're just not good covering the pass. So here's what Matt Ryan did the last time he faced the 7th ranked defense for pass, and that was Green Bay. He only went for 288 yards and 3 TDs. So the 7th ranked pass defense doesn't throw me off. The Falcons are getting 8.3 yards per play, I believe, or something crazy like that. The other thing is I think this is a shootout, and the Eagles get Big Benny Logan back in the middle. So their run defense is going to be a little bit more stout than it's been in the last couple of weeks. I think the Falcons are going to have to go through the air. I hate to say it. I think the Falcons win. It kills me as an Eagles fan. I hope it doesn't happen. But I think the Falcons win in a shootout, which means Matty Ryan is going to have a huge, huge day. He's coming in at $8,600. The second guy I'm going to give you is Big Ben. Big Ben's usually not a value play. He's usually up there, but after his performance last week and the injury, he's coming in at $7,700. So I'm going to consider that value for him. They're going against Dallas, which is a 15th ranked pass defense. I think that's another one that's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a bit of a shootout. That over-under is 50.5 coming in, or 50.5 coming in as the second highest of the week. He has weapons back. I'm going to give you one of the weapons that he has back later as a real sneaky value play. But Sammy Coates is dressing, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. The Steelers are getting to full strength, and they are going to put up monster numbers today. So I like Big Ben as the value pick at quarterback.
You know what? You're right, K-Hass. How often do you hear Big Ben being a value play? That's something to look at there. And, I am going to join you on that game. You mentioned the Dallas-Pittsburgh game. Your over-under is 50.5, which depending on which site you look at, that's right up there with the Eagles-Atlanta. It's also a 3-point spread. So Vegas is thinking this is going to be a close game. I'm thinking it's going to be a close game. And I'm going to take the opposite side from you here. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott, who, again, as an Eagles fan, is very painful to do. But here at the Cuz Picks, we're betting with our wallets, not our hearts. And I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. Prescott has he's really stepped up. Rookie guy, he's coming out there. He's giving you some solid plays. He has a solid offensive line keeping him safe. He has arguably one of the top 3 running backs in the league, Ezekiel Elliott, keeping the defense honest. And now he has Des Bryant back. So, I mean, they have everything turning right there. And Pittsburgh, as we could see when the Eagles played them earlier in the year and a few other teams, Pittsburgh is not a defense like they used to be. Pittsburgh's defense scares no one, and I don't think it's going to scare Dak. I think that Dallas, as much as it hurts to say, I think Dallas is for real. And I think they're going to go in there. They're going to get into a shootout with Pittsburgh. And you know what? That would benefit both of our lineups here. We're not calling winners or losers. I think we're both agreeing that Dak, who's coming at 7,700, and Big Ben are going to be in a shootout. It's going to benefit both quarterbacks. Now, my other quarterback that you touched on a little bit earlier when you were talking about Matt Ryan and what he did against Green Bay is, what about Marcus Mariota? What do you think Mariota is going to do against Green Bay? Here's another game. It's going to be high scoring. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a running back. If he does, it's not a legit running back. You can throw Montgomery back there. If Starks is healthy, you know what? They're going to be throwing the ball. And Mariota has proven by scoring 28 or more Fanduel points in 3 of his last 5 games that he has the arm and the ability to match up with Rodgers. And I think this is going to be another shootout. And I also like Mariota, who's going to come in a little bit cheaper than Prescott. I think he gives you a little more of a ceiling. I think that he can hit that 28-30. Prescott, I think, is a little bit of a safer play. I think Prescott's going to give you 20 to 25. But I think Mariota has that little upside at $300 cheaper. It's all you.
All right. Sorry, I was muted there, trying to give you the screen. I like both of those picks. I'll touch on, so you hit the Cowboys game. We'll get back to that one in a little bit, and we'll also get back to that Titans-Packers game because, again, I'm going to be on the other side there in just a bit. James Stark is still listed as questionable. He was limited in practice all week. That is that a late start? No, that's an early start. So hopefully some information should be coming out. So that's a great time to say we're doing these without all the injury information. So check us out on Twitter, and we'll give you the updates if we're changing our lineups or our picks due to people being ruled out. All right, that takes us to running back. For running back, let me see here. I'm starting off with the top dog, David Johnson. He's 9,400, and I think he's worth every penny of it this week. He's going up against the 32nd run defense, the Chippers, the 49ers. Man, I think I might be able to run for 200 yards against the 49ers. They're terrible. So their run defense is awful. Hopefully, I'm hoping that some people are scared off of the 10 carries for 24 yards that he had last week. Carolina bottled him up. Carolina is a lot different than the 49ers. But even if he doesn't get the yards on the ground, here's something that I really look at is big. His last 2 games, he's had 7 and 8 receptions. So even if they throw the ball, he's their best player. He's part of the receiving game. He's part of the rushing game, and he's going to score a lot of touchdowns tonight. He's worth every single penny. So I like him at 9,400. A little bit more of a value play, I'm going to go with Jordan Howard. So Jordan Howard at 6,900. Last week he had 26 carries for 153 yards and gave you 49 yards through the air receiving on 4 catches. He kind of fell off, and I'm one of the guys that was down on him last week. I thought Kadeem Carey was going to get some of the carries. Langford was back. There was all kinds of questions. And last week he was just an absolute stud against a very good Minnesota defense. So I think that he's going to have another big game. I think Cutler coming back helps him. Cutler is going to throw the ball to Alshon Jeffrey, which is going to get some guys out of the box so Howard can run. He also has a big bonus. He's getting back his guard. I believe his first name's Zach, but I know his last name's Sitton, and he is a stud. So he's going to get some help on that offensive line, and they're going to open up holes. And Jordan Howard is going to be a really, really quality play against a weak Tampa Bay rush defense.
But you know what? I think that everybody is going to be on David Johnson if they can find the money in their lineup to do so. And you know what? Like you said, I don't see why not. He went up against San Francisco in week 5, and the guy did nothing but 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's expensive. He's worth it. And you know what? We like to go some value plays. You can't mess with fate here. David Johnson's going to be the top running back. You got to take him. If not, though, I'm going to give you 3 really quick mentions here because I do more than one lineup, and I'm going to sprinkle these 3 guys in some order or another. And one of these guys is Melvin Gordon. For me personally, playing San Diego always scares me. They've let me down in the past. But Melvin Gordon he's shown up down there, and he's gotten you 30 Fanduel points in 2 of the last 3 weeks, I think. In the last 3 weeks, the guy has had 22 or more rushes and 4 or more receptions with 3 touchdowns. He's definitely a big play down there. Miami does not have a good run defense. Melvin Gordon is the only guy down there for San Diego. Look for him to be heavily involved in the running game. We're talking 20-some carries. We're talking goal line, and we're talking 4 receptions in the last 3 games, each game, ranging from 6 to 7 targets per game. So look for Melvin Gordon to come in a little bit cheaper. Another guy who really, I'm surprised at how cheap he is, and I'm going to give you the price here right now, $7,400 for DeMarco Murray. Murray, I don't think he's going to be the boom guy this week, but he's a solid 20-point running back. He's gone up against Green Bay, who has a decent defense, but you know what? They've given up big scores in the past. And I definitely think that DeMarco Murray, especially if you're going with Marcus Mariota, Murray is involved in goal line. He's going to get you 15 carries. He's going to be involved in the pass offense. And he's going to grab you anything within 10 yards and in. You know what? Look for Mariota to go through DeMarco Murray running the ball, grounding and pounding it there.
Hey, one of the things I'm going to throw in real quick, Green Bay's the number 2 ranked rush defense. So like Court's saying, you might be a little concerned there. DeMarco had 7 receptions last week. 5 3 weeks ago, 6 4 weeks ago. He can catch the ball too. So it's not all going to be on the ground. He does get the goal line carries. But look for Mariota to dump the ball off to him too. So don't let that second-ranked rush defense scare you away there. Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, that's good because that's something that I'm hoping it does scare the other people away. DeMarco Murray is going to come in low-owned. And if you're dropping $7,400 and you get 3 times your investment back, you grab a running back who gives you 2 touchdowns, 100 yards all purpose, you're definitely doing well there. Now, the other guy, if you want to really go down to the bargain basement here, all right, we are going down to Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is $5,100. Doug Peterson came out on Monday and said he's going to be the number 1 running back for the Eagles. Now, we all know that Atlanta has a terrible pass defense. They're giving up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks in the league. Look for Carson Wentz to have the ball. He's going to throw the ball, and he's going to dump the ball down a lot because his receivers just can't get open. So if he can dump the ball down to Sproles, look for Sproles to get 5 to 10 targets this game. He's also going to run the ball. You can see that Peterson actually trusted him with a goal line carry last week, which I personally don't agree with. But if you're afraid that Matthews is going to fumble the ball and drop it, and you're willing to give Darren Sproles the run behind the line, you know what? I think that Sproles is going to be a sneaky play at $5,100. And he doesn't have to do anything spectacular to get you points. He can just have a normal Sproles game, break 1 or 2 runs, a couple dumps out of the backfield, get you 15 Fanduel points without even breaking a sweat. So that's my low ball play of the day.
All right, so I'll take you back over to receivers, and I'm going to start off. The reason we give you these value picks is so you can use the big guys. The big guys like we gave you David Johnson and like I'm about to give you Julio Jones. Julio Jones owns the Eagles, all right? Every time they play, he has a huge game. Again, I already went over with Matt Ryan. This is going to be a shootout. They're going to throw the ball. The Eagles don't have anybody on their team that can cover Julio Jones. It's a fact. Okay, look how they've done against big wideouts. Odell Beckham, touchdown. Des Bryant, touchdown. Okay, the number 1 receivers, we don't have a number 1 cover guy. So I'm an Eagles fan. Julio Jones has a huge game. I think it's going to be one of those where he has a huge first half and then dies down a little bit and then comes back in the fourth quarter when it's close. He's going to put up a ton of points, give you great value even at $8,800. The second guy I'm going to give you is again, a bit of a value play and a guy who's not normally associated with a value play. Okay. I am going to give you Randall Cobb at 6,600. He came back last week. He wasn't supposed to play. He played. He caught you a touchdown, just 2 targets, not really that great. He's healthy. He's off the injury report. He might get a couple carries, maybe a couple goal line carries. You never know what Montgomery's going to do up there. But let me just give you this. Here are his targets the last 3 games that he was healthy. 11, 11, 15. All right? Rodgers is slinging the ball. He loves Cobb. He loves Cobb in the red zone. I think he's, I was on Devontae Adams. Now I'm switching, okay? Devontae Adams is up. He's a little bit higher priced. Randall Cobb coming off the injury is a sneaky pick at 6,600. You don't see a lot of guys at that price range that could get you 15 targets and maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns. So I really, really like Randall Cobb. Again, in a shootout, it's 49.5 is the over-under. I think a lot of points go up on the board there today. I think down in Tennessee today. Go ahead, Court.
Not a bad play. And one of the beauties with Green Bay is you can rotate those receivers on a week-to-week basis. I think Jordy Nelson has been a bit of a letdown. He's getting number 1 corner coverage. And it's really opened it up for guys like Devontae Adams, which Kay Haas called a couple weeks ago, led him to the number 1 finish in one of the huge Monday, Thursday tournaments. And you will hear me plugging that probably for the rest of the year because he really rocked it out there. But guys like Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, as long as you know which guy is going to be the guy that week for Green Bay, you're going to do well. Now, my stud wide receiver I'm going with is a guy who has had 17 and 18 targets this year and is getting 1/3 of the targets all year for his offense. And that is Mike Evans. Mike Evans was cleared. He had his neurologist go through, cleared for the concussion protocol, all that stuff. The guy is all good. Full practice later this week. And you're looking at Mike Evans, who's going up against a Chicago's Bears defense that has given up 195 yards per game and 9 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. That is the worst since 1985. Okay, so look for Mike Evans to have one of his big games. I think he's going to get out there. Him and Alshon Jeffrey, I think, are going to go back and forth a little bit. So I'm taking Mike Evans there. Now, one of my second-tier guys that I'm going to go with is Emmanuel Sanders. I like him a little bit more over Demaryius Thomas. Thomas is going to garner the number 1 corner coverage down there in New Orleans. This is another game that New Orleans isn't a great pass defense. The wide receiver number 2s are doing much better than wide receivers number 1s against New Orleans. And I think Emmanuel Sanders, who also leads Demaryius Thomas in red zone targets. So look for Emmanuel Sanders to have a decent game down there in New Orleans. Now, my third wide receiver that is a guy who, again, I am pairing with my Mariota lineup. When my lineups come out later today, just around probably 12:15 or so, you will see a Mariota lineup, and you will see Rashard Matthews as the receiver paired with Mariota. The guy is a red zone threat. He's a burner. He's coming it on. He's the guy that I think Mariota is going to be looking to. And so I'm giving Rashard Matthews as my low ball wide receiver for the day. I think he's coming in at 5,800.
All right, Cord. Sorry, I was checking our Twitter there to see if there's any questions. Again, tweet us at the CuzPicks if you have any questions. We'll answer them live here on YouTube. I missed. Did you mention J.J. Nelson?
I did not. I did not mention J.J. Nelson today.
Okay, well, I'm going to mention him because I think here's one of your bonus picks. A value play, 5,600, going up against the 49ers. Bruce Arians came out this week and said that he's going to be the number 2 receiver. So he's going to be – can you mute the mic there so you stop popping in? He's going to be the number 2 receiver for the Cardinals. Last week as a number 2 receiver, he got you 12 targets. He is a burner, okay? He can get deep, and he's going to get deep against the Niners. The Niners right now are last in the league in defense against passes that travel more than 15 yards in the air, okay? Palmer is going to throw a couple deep shots to Nelson, and the Niners cannot stop the deep ball. So I really, really like J.J. Nelson as a value play. The other value play, I don't have him on here, so I don't know how much he is, but I have to throw him out because last night we tweeted from the Flyers and we threw out Bryce Treggs. I do think Bryce Treggs has a big game. Last night I said 3 catches, 110 yards. Overshot a little bit there. I do think that Treggs gets a deep ball today. Hopefully he takes it to the house if Wentz gets it to him on the money. I think he's more of like a 2 or 3 receptions, 75 yards, maybe a TD guy. But I really like J.J. Nelson as a play, 5,600. He's a value play. So switching over to tight end, I'm going to give you another value play. This guy is coming off the PUP list, all right, the PUP list. Rumor has it he would have been able to play last week for the Steelers, but he wasn't quite 100%. But I love him this week. Ladarius Green. He's coming in at 4,500. He hasn't played all season. He didn't finish last season, but the Steelers brought him in because of his tremendous speed and to be a weapon for Big Ben. All right, I gave you Big Ben as one of my quarterbacks. You always have Brown. You have Coates going deep. He has a bona fide red zone threat with Ladarius Green. Okay, he's a huge dude. He's fast. Linebackers can't cover him. Okay, Big Ben he made a star out of Heath Miller some games. He even made Jesse James seem like he was a legit receiving tight end. Sorry to all you Penn State fans, but he's not all that great. Ladarius Green is a stud. Okay, so coming in at 4,500, I don't know how much he plays. Maybe he's kind of on a pitch count like they do sometimes when guys come back. I don't think he will be, but if he is, he's going to be on the field in the red zone. With the Steelers, they always like to go for 2. Ladarius Green is a great threat on a 2-point conversion, so you pick up some of those cheap points there. So I love Ladarius Green. The other guy, normally I give you Gronk. I'm going to stay away, and I'm going to fade Gronk today. 1, he's too much money. 2, I think Cam Chancellor keys on him today, and I think Cam Chancellor kind of takes him out of that game a little bit. All right, over to you, Court.
Okay, so on my tight ends today, I'm giving you 2 guys, and I'm staying cheap because, as you could tell, I spent some money on running backs, spent some money on Mike Evans. I'm going to give you another guy down there at Tampa Bay. I'm kind of high on Tampa Bay today, and I'm liking Cameron Brate. Brate has come out. He's been seeing his playing time increase over the last few weeks. The guy's been getting a handful of targets. He's getting red zone targets. He's given you a touchdown in each of the last 2 games and coming in at 5,400. I like his potential to give you another 5 catches, 50 yards, maybe a TD. If you get that and you're rocking a nice 15 in there, that's pretty good for you. Now, the other guy who is a bargain play, you're talking about Ladarius Green coming off of the PUP list, hasn't played all year, is coming in at 4,500. And when you can get the guy that I'm going to give you for $100 more in Zach Ertz, I don't see how you can say no to that. We talked about the shootout. Atlanta-Philly is going to be a high-scoring game. Carson Wentz, he aired the ball out last week. I loved it. The guy's a cannon. Let him use it. But who's he going to throw to? You're going to throw to Jordan Matthews. You're going to take a shot or 2 down the field with Bryce Treggs. But you're going to do what he did last week. He's going to throw the ball to Zach Ertz 8 times for 8 receptions, 97 yards. When you're going to get that at $4,600, that is going to free you up to do anything you want in those bigger skilled, higher priced positions. So those are my guys today. I'm giving you Cameron Brate at 54 and Zach Ertz at 46.
All right, both good picks there. That takes us to kickers. You know that we do like to talk about kickers on here because kickers can make or break your FanDuel lineup. I'm sticking with the same guy. Last week he disappointed me a little bit. He missed an extra point, but I'm going to go with my boy Lambo, all right, for the Chargers. I always feel like I have to say the team for the kicker because when I throw out Lambo, some of our viewers, I'm sure, have no idea who I'm talking about. But I do like Lambo. Let's see what that game is at. The over-under there is 49. Okay, they're playing Miami. It's in San Diego, so you have good weather. I think that both teams move the ball. It's a high over-under, and Lambo has a cannon of a leg. I mean, he can hit it from 50, no problem. So hopefully he gets a couple of those long ones. He is averaging 10 points per week in FanDuel, which I believe is the 3rd highest out of any kicker, and he gives you a little bit of value there. He's not quite at 4,500, which is where I usually like to go, but he's at 4,700, so you can fit him in with some of those bigger guys that we're talking about. Now, this is going to be interesting because Court D always picks Justin Tucker, and he already played. So let's see who his kicker man crushes this week. Go ahead, Court.
Well, I can guarantee you that if you watch my Thursday, Monday lineup, Justin Tucker was in there as my kicker along with the Baltimore defense. Those were the only 2 plays I had on Thursday. And Tucker did all right. He got me 9. Baltimore's defense against Cleveland did a little bit better, got me 14. So I'm off to a nice start there. But my kicker, you're talking about going 45. Well, I found a guy that's 4,500, and I'm going to use him today. I'm going to use him in all my lineups, and that's Will Lutz. All right, the guy is playing at home in a dome. If you look at his average is up and down. But when you look at why, here's going to be the reason. You're looking at his home games in a dome, climate controlled, no wind, no anything. He's scoring you 16, 13, 8, and 11. Now, when you look at his other games, when he's on the road, he's scoring you 3. He's scoring you 0. All right, that's bringing his average down. The guy has everything I look for in a kicker today. He's low cost. He's playing at home, high over under, and he's a favorite. So I'm liking Will Lutz today. I think that between Hightower and Ingram, and of course Drew Brees in the dome, I think that New Orleans can move the ball today. And I think that Denver's defense is going to mitigate that a little bit with some of the touchdowns. But I definitely think that it's going to go through Will Lutz, who has proven that at home, indoors, he can be a solid kicker coming in at the bare minimum, 4,500.
All right, thank you. I'm going to give you my defense. I am going for 4,900, and I'm going for the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, again, I'm spending a little bit more here, but here's why I think it's worth the money. Second lowest over-under of the day at 41.5, okay? So Vegas is expecting it to be a low-scoring game. The Vikings defense is ranked 3rd in the league, okay? They're ranked 3rd in the league, 4th against the pass, 8th against the rush. They have the Washington Redskins. If you look at Kirk Cousins, all right, go click on Fanduel and look at his stats from the 8 weeks. 5 of the 8 weeks, he himself has had multiple turnovers. Okay, this Vikings team is going to look to turn the ball over, and they can scoop and score. They can take it to the house. All right, they're a very likely team to score a defensive touchdown, which is what you need in FanDuel. So I know Kirk Cousins is going to give up the ball. I know he's going to turn it over, and I think the Vikings have a good shot at taking it to the house. The other reason I like the Vikings is Cordarrelle Patterson and Marcus Sherrills. Okay, punt returns, kick returns. They are a threat every time the ball is kicked to them. So I'm hoping for one. I mean, I would love 2. They've done it before this year, but I'd like a defensive touchdown coming from the Vikings today in a low-scoring game, a low-scoring win where they get back on track against the Washington Redskins.
All right, so on defense, I'm going to spend a little bit of money. I'm like Kay Haas this week, looking at the low ball defensive units out there. They're involved in some shootouts. I don't think they're going to win. So I don't think I can really save much money here on defense. So I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to give you the top one that if your money permits, go for it. And that's going to be Arizona's defense. Arizona going up against Kaepernick. I'm not buying it. Chip Kelly's going to try to run and gun, do his thing. I don't think that Kaepernick is a good quarterback. I think I'm not part of the minority there. And I think he's going to take some chances where Arizona is going to be able to capitalize. Arizona is a 13.5 favorite in this game, which even though it's a 47 over-under, that's really knocking down what Vegas thinks that San Fran's going to be able to do. And I think 1 or 2 of those big plays that Kaepernick's going to try to make are going to be foiled by Arizona. Now, if you can't afford them, a team that I like almost as much, it's going to come in at 4,800, are the New York Jets at home. Okay, you have LA coming out there. What's LA's strength? In the past, it's been Todd Gurley. Well, the Jets have a pretty solid run defense. I think they're going to be able to key on Gurley. I don't think that Keenum is going to be able to get it done for you. I gave Keenum to you in the past as a long shot tournament play, but that was going up against a terrible pass defense. And the Jets aren't a terrible pass defense. They're playing at home. It's a nice day out here on the East Coast, so I don't think weather's going to have a factor. But I think that the Jets in the lowest over-under game of the day at, I think it's 38.5 right now, 39. Jets are also a small favorite. I think that Vegas is going to hold true there, and I think the Jets can really limit what LA is going to be able to do out here on the East Coast. It's all you.
All right. So as we go out here and get us some of the loot, I want to thank Court D for joining me today. I got a question for you for all the fans out there, Court. Are you going to give us another NBA winner? I know we don't focus on that on Sundays, but I think we got to give him one. What do you think?
Well, as you know, my procedure with NBA is pretty straight. Guys are going out there, they're picking people they want. NBA, man, it changes day to day, and I spend a lot of time on my NBA picks. If I'm doing well today at football, if I'm happy and I'm not glued to the TV watching the Eagles game, I might get some research done. But I say that every week. But I won't do a Periscope, but I will definitely shoot out a pick tonight. I can't resist the winning streak.
Well, there you go. I mean, check it out. There's an 8 o'clock start. There's a late night for NBA, so I think that's probably the one I'm going to be hitting. We will be on Twitter all day, so if you have questions, tweet us. All right, we'll gladly give you some advice if you want some for the 4 o'clock games or the night games. We might do a Periscope later, depending on how the day goes. Check us out on Instagram, okay? The Cuz Picks. Check us out on Twitter, The Cuz Picks. All right, and thanks for watching us here on YouTube. Everybody have a great week. And we'll catch you guys later.